is an extreme sport, and we get involved in it. You got to understand all the factors,
Right.
the work, the consistency, the diet, and yes, it's expensive, especially the cost of getting a coach, a trainer. The food part of it right now is the biggest part of it because right now we have Nicole. She's having her meal, so
Yeah,
because
sorry.
that's good. That's don't apologize. It tells you that this is what happens with a bodybuilder because you need even though no matter if you're enhanced or unenhanced, you do need food to fuel your body. It takes muscle. It takes food to build muscle, and you have to be eating the right things. And also, everybody's different. With I think when I've done a couple of interviews with natural competitors, tell you it takes them longer to put on just 5 pounds compared to the enhanced competitors. And the enhanced competitors use steroids or PEDs because as recovery. Because if you think about it, you do leg day, you don't want to get up and do nothing. Your legs are hurting, you're killing you, and it's there to help with your joints, your inflammation, and stuff like that.
Or that's
All
what
that.
it's there for, to like enhance like your metabolism, or to get you like pepped up,
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
different. Yeah, different
uh
steroids do different things because
yeah,
there's a bunch of different like peds that you can take, and it does different things. Like some of them helps with you recover faster. Some of
yeah,
them make you bigger. You have peds that make you super lean without compromising muscle right before competition.
yeah.
That's
I
why
do.
yeah. That's why, but when they say somebody's on a cycle,
Yeah,
it's doing a few different things to get to get
yeah.
that look for the stage. So, but it's like
mhm,
something you can't. It's not sustainable. It's not something you can really stay on for like an extended
Yeah.
period of time. We know the ugly side of abusing pets.
yeah, yeah.
So
Because it can cause damage to you. The side effects are yes, you get like hair falling out. The you will get certain like acne. There's always the whole thing of steroid rage, but sometimes there's some mental effects to it. But the thing is, if you take it you know, in a certain way. You go by certain foundations. You take it like you have a cycle. We take it here and then. You don't have to take it year round. That's the thing is,
mm,
you don't take it year round. You only take it when you need it, especially when you're prepping for competition. You're
right.
training. It's only necessary. But some people they do abuse it, like any kind of drug.
Yeah.
Be the hardcore drugs like cocaine or crack or meth. It can be abused. You
There's
know,
this girl.
hmm,
No, I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say real quick. This girl that's on Instagram. She's a OCB competitor, and they like she gets like these people accuse her like taking like something, because she has like this physique and starvations, and you probably know who I'm talking about, George. But she's like an OCB competitor. She has pimples on her face, and
Hmm.
there've been times she made it clear to people that she's not taking anything. She's
Hmm.
just natural. She's all natural, but like people don't believe her.
I know you're talking about that's Natalie Hayes.
Yeah,
I think yeah, I follow her. Natalie is a young competitor. I think she's been competing for a good bit, and uh, here she is. I'm pulling up. Here's a picture. If give me a second. Here we go. Eh, and here it is. This is like you mentioned her, and here we go. It's Natalie here, and I think was it last month? No, actually last year she competed at the nationals. She competing women's physique, and she has potential
Hmm.
for bodybuilding. She has a great physique, a great look to her. Yeah, she is supposed to be showing the comments they make it about her. Yeah, she might have some. She might have some natural issues with acne. That's probably it. If she's natural, she couldn't be able to compete in the OCB.
How old is she?
I think she got to be about 25, 26, maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah. And she did, like I said, she did an NBC show a while back that was nationals, which qualifies you for as IFB Pro. But I think she was
Yeah, but
fourth. Hmm?
NBC Naturals is not all natural because they don't test for everything.
Well, she did nationals, and that's they don't do testing at nationals.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
That's
She
the
look. I know too. Once they start doing that stuff, it permanently changes your body chemistry. So it's like, all right, once you learn how to ride a bike, you never go back to not knowing how to ride a bike. You know what I'm saying? So you can't unlearn it. So once you do that, it really does change your body chemistry. The changes aren't reversible. So I don't think I'm not saying she did anything, but if she was NPC and she did stuff, now all of a sudden she wants to come over to OCB. That's not fair because you're not really natural.
Where here she
Natural,
is,
like
she was actually
yeah,
where she was at the Yorton. Here she is right here
yeah.
with the Yorton champion. And also she's also competes in India OCB. So that means that if she's OCB, I know y'all you're testing, you piss test you, the drug test you, she's passing. So unless they catch anything, because it takes a while for that stuff to get out of your system. Even if you do say, okay, I'm gonna take some time and maybe uh, wean off of it, it takes a long time. You can even have this stuff in the system for years, you know.
Mm.
But
Like
yeah, she's impressive.
it changes your body chemistry forever. Like her physique, she'll never go back to having like a natural looking physique because she already did something. I can tell she did something. I'm not saying she's doing anything right now. Of course, it's not, she's gonna be clean for the OCB show. It's like if you do drugs and you gotta get drug tested at work, and you know you're gonna get tested, you probably clean yourself up before the test and you can pass it. you know, See, I mean, I'm not saying I don't know. She's not 100. I don't think she's 100% natural. I think she might have done stuff in the past. Oh,
Mm.
That's a possibility, but like I
yeah.
said, if she can, if she can dip both between, because with you OCB competitors, as long as you are amateurs, you can dip. But I know what's coming up next month is actually the Pittsburgh Pro. They're having a big expo thing. It's now becoming Spanish Expo that they're having for that Pittsburgh Pro, uh, uh, a natural pro qualifier. And you have to do some regional shows to get qualified to do this show. Because I think one thing is NPC wants to bring in natural competitors. They got the Ben Weeder Natural Show, and that's been around for a couple of years now. There's also, I think, there's some natural competitors in physique. A young lady, she just competed just this past weekend at the Triple O. Her name is Kendall Rich, and she was an OCB competitor. She got her regional qualifications at the battle up in Texas that was last year, and she got a pro card at the Nationals.
Mm.
And that's possible. I've seen like really strong natural competitors.
Yeah.
It takes a
Well,
long time. Actually, like my my chiropractor, he was telling me. No, he does sports medicine too. He was saying it takes about a year to build 7 pounds of muscle naturally, whereas if you use the PEDs, you can build 35 pounds of muscle in 1 year. So it would take
yeah,
me like 5 years to build. What an enhanced competitor can build in just 1 year. So,
yeah.
but
Well, right now I popped onto the OCB, one OCB sites. It's for the Yorton, and
mhm.
Yorton is it's like the
Olympia.
if you don't know what the Yorton is, it's the
Yeah.
equivalent of the uh, Olympia for
hmm
natural bodybuilding. Uh, you know, maybe we'll see our dear friend Mrs. Strauss there sometime soon.
Oh, I start prepping in 6 weeks. I was telling Kay that
uh,
yes. Yeah, I start
Yeah.
prepping in 6 weeks. Yep.
that's cool.
And what show
And
you going to? Like what show
Yeah.
again?
The OCB Chesapeake Classic. It's
Yeah.
October 11th in Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. Okay, yeah, Baltimore. How far is it from here to New York City? I forgot.
Not
Baltimore,
far.
like
Maybe like 3 hours, maybe.
yeah, yeah, same thing like Washington D.C. Okay,
It's like right there.
yeah,
While DC is like 3.5 hours. It's not too far.
yeah. I would have to be there, like leave out the house like 9 o'clock just to get over there.
where the Yorton's in
Yeah.
Charlotte, and Charlotte's a good
Yes.
3 or 4 hour drive from where I live at in North Carolina. Because
Damn,
I'm
three to
like
four hours. Oh man,
maybe about that. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to Charlotte. You got to think about traffic and all that, and you got to at least try to leave enough early time.
Mhm.
But
yeah.
yeah, it's a good distance. Uh, and you look at the competitors. It's a big difference if you look at some of the bodybuilders in NPC and IFBB. The
Yeah.
muscle is just totally different level. We have a gentleman right here who is a person pull up
my,
here.
my opposing coach.
Ships in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm standing with your new world champion in classic physique, Demaine Dawson. Demaine,
Correct.
this was your second pro show.
Yes. So
How did you feel coming into the show?
oh, it was a little bit rough because I had to give up work. So prep was a little bit challenging in terms of buying food, getting around because you need money from work to get these things done. So it was a little bit costly, but with the assistance of family members and friends, I got everything done, and I was confident coming in the show due to the fact that I saw the work that I was putting in and the results that I was getting from it. So I was definitely confident.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
And it's great that you had that team behind you because it does take a village to raise a
Trust me,
champion.
it definitely does.
So talk about a little bit about your past history. You're originally from Jamaica,
Right.
and you came to the States.
Right.
So talk about that.
So I moved to Virginia from Jamaica in 2022.
Okay.
The reason for moving, well, most of my family members resides here. So, and I have a condition called Crohn's disease.
Okay.
I'm not sure if anybody knows about that. Well, most people may know about it. It's not really known, but it's an inflammatory bowel disease that affects the GI tract from the mouth to the anus.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been struggling with that from 2018 when I got diagnosed. So during my bodybuilding career, pretty much I had to put it on hold due to that. Couldn't compete, had to watch competitions and people below me, rising up to the top, and I just couldn't represent myself the way I wanted to. So I just had to take a step back. So my mother, she went all out for me in getting me here to the US, where I could have gotten great treatment, and I'm still getting great treatment from the healthcare professionals, which seems to be helping really good. And that has got me to go back on track to training, eating well. I still try to eat clean, keep my diet as consistent as possible where there's no flare-ups or any form of negative things that will affect me in that regards. So yes, my mother, as I said, she's a real stone building block behind all of this. My girlfriend, they are the ones that supports me doing this, and I'm just elated. I'm just grateful for them.
Yeah, but that's amazing because a lot of people think that they can't compete because they have an internal condition and things like that. But talk about when you do have a flare-up, how does that affect your body? How does that affect your mindset?
So a flare-up can lead to many disadvantages. You can't work. It makes your quality of life extremely poor. With Crohn's disease, it's like constant diarrhea, so it's an ongoing thing. So you're losing blood. You're always anemic.
Do you have to get transfused?
I have to get infusion every 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yes, and that's it's just something else. I really don't look forward to it because I know it helps with the situation. I get it done, and I can do what I love. With all of this going on, though, I have to put God first. He's the forefront of my life. Whatever I do, I put God in the center of it. I never left him or never leave him out. And I'm just here, man. And I can't believe I've actually gotten the win through all of what I've been through.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Definitely.
It's completely a testimony to your strength, your willpower, and the people that believe in you.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the moment when your name was called as our new Jordan Cup World Champion in natural bodybuilding. This is the biggest natural bodybuilding show that we ever have.
Yes.
So how did that feel? What was going through your mind?
I felt very, very emotional. I felt elated. I wanted to jump. I wanted to scream, but I was, keep it calm because you don't want to look too, But coming into the show, I was very confident though. I knew at some point, I would have been in the top 3, but I'm like, anything can happen. Any card can play. So when the third and second got called out, I'm like, oh man, am I not in the top 3?
Yes.
And then I heard my number and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So I broke down in tears. I went down to my knees and it was just something. It was just surreal, man. And I'm just grateful, that I caught the win.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
So what would you want to tell to the newest athlete that's coming on board that may have an internal condition that makes life more challenging for them?
Definitely. Just if you have a condition similar to mine, just stay on your doctor visits. Don't neglect it because that's the thing that people tend to do is whenever they have a sickness, they tell themselves, oh, I can do whatever I want with it. No, you got to follow protocols. You got to follow rules. There are rules to it. Just stay natural. That's my number one advice to any athlete coming into the sport. Stay natural, stay focused, work hard, and be consistent.
Awesome. On half of the OCB, here at the OCB Jordan Cup Championships, congratulations. You are looking at our 2024 Classic Physique New World Champion, Demaine Dawson.
Thank you.
All right. Shout out to Mr. Dawson. I mean, to tell you the truth, I've interviewed quite a few ladies who have gone through some medical issues in the past, you know, and that was the one reason why some of them got into bodybuilding, because they were dealing with something like Crohn's. I know a couple ladies who said they were dealing with some Crohn's. I was talking. I had an interview with Nikki Ricks, who turned pro last year at the Amateur Olympia, and she's from the UK, and she has an autoimmune issue. And that's one thing about her. She really wants to put on more size, but it's a lot harder because the autoimmune deficiency can affect you. Then, you know, and his fights stay natural. I think it works, but it works for those who want to stay natural. The one thing is, there's quite a few competitors who do, you know, they start out natural, but eventually they switch up for their personal reasons because they want to hit it's one thing when you hit in an organization like NPC or IFB, I think it's hard to maintain that natural look for as long as you can, because you know you're competing with some, like, I think one person I think my man Keith mentioned is Samson Dua, and Samson is now currently Mr. Olympia, top guy, very popular guy. He also started out natural, but eventually he switched up to using performance enhancers.
Yeah, I love Samson. Yeah, I think he's nice personality, just all around nice guy, great competitor. So, yeah, I really like Samson as a competitor. You got the people's. I think you got the people's. You got the. I was like, you got the People's Choice Award. Is that what they call it? The People's Choice Award last year at Olympia. Because there's two. You get Mr. Olympia, like the People's Choice, I think, award he got. So.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. He is. He seems like a really all around just nice person. You know, kind of like Ronnie Coleman. Remember Ronnie Coleman was. I don't know if any of you guys have met Ronnie Coleman. I met Ronnie Coleman in 2021. Oh my God, Ronnie Coleman. When I tell you, you would think me and him were friends for like years. That's just how he is. He's just real down to earth. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, often he's probably one of the most popular Mr. Olympias. You know, out there next to, I think, Lee Heaney was one of the top guys back in the day.
Yeah,
and you know, he was up there. I mean, and the thing is, you know, when you get into an organization, you know, like the OCB, and you find your way there because it works. If you're the type of person who have those issues, or you feel like you don't want to use performance enhancers, that's the go-to. There's other organizations. There's the PCA, and also I think there is the WBFF, I believe. That's the World Bodybuilding Fashion Federation. You know, there's quite a few, but still, y'all know the ones that really get attention is, as my man AJ would say, they like the big freakies. Yeah, they like the big monsters. You know, you want the monsters. And you know, that's why you look at guys like Samson and guys like Heidi Chopin, and you look at women like Andrea Shaw, and you look at, you know, when who just won this past weekend at Triple O. I think she has an amazing body. I'm a fan of hers. I'm hoping maybe someday in the future I get a chance to have her on as a guest. Salika Given, you know, and Salika.
She's a body. She's
Salika won. She's IFBB Pro, and she just, like I said again, won at the Triple O this past you know, Saturday, and lady has an impressive physique. I mean, you know, maybe need to work on the condition a little bit. I mean, she did pretty good. I mean, she beat out at least 3 women who were Olympia qualified. You know, Chelsea Dion, Teresa Vasic, and Mila Ash.
Yeah, I seen their performances. It was kind of graceful though. Like I seen Helena Davis, Chelsea Dion's performance was good. Yeah. They,
And
you know, they it was
triple.
they was graceful, like like a little ballerina type of thing.
Aw.
You know they doing and stuff. And then I seen hers. You know, she killed that. Yeah. So
Yeah, she has a great personality. She's only been a pro. This is her third year as a pro. She turned pro in 2022 at Nationals. I interviewed Marilyn Yee, and they were at Nationals, and she beat Marilyn out in the heavyweight class at Nationals, which got her a pro card. I think she win overall? I'm trying to remember if she won overall or not. And then she made her debut in 2023. She did the Atlanta Pro, which qualified her that year for I think she won the Masters, which gets her to the Masters Olympia this year. Then she did both the Atlanta again, and she got invited to the Rising Phoenix, where she was number 6 at that show. And she won. She was number 3 in Best Poser Award for that year. And now she does. She did Triple O, and now she's not just qualified just for the Olympia, but also for the Masters Olympia. Right now, I see she did an interview a while back with AJ and JB on the Female Body channel that she's trying to get some funds up so she goes to Japan and do the Masters Olympia, which also can qualify you for the Olympia. But I would say, you know, you already got your ticket. You just want to do the Masters Olympia to do it. That's cool. We have a comment here. We have here from Lion, 2012, I believe that's his name is. He says, "Peace from Toronto. I listened to your interview. I'm a big FB fan. Keep up the good work." Appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. So, but I would say one thing is, truthfully, when natural bodybuilding really catch on in the UPC and the IFBB, especially, or will it just because of the extreme culture of bodybuilding, will it can it survive or last, you think, in your opinions?
I mean, some people think that women bodybuilding ain't gonna last, because like the way how they cut the shows and stuff like that,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, it has like a stigma to it. I don't know.
I think no, things change. Things evolve. I think bodybuilding is no exception to that rule. Do you remember like Arnold? I don't know if you guys remember. I didn't see Arnold, but I know Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't too keen on men's physique because of the shorts. Because he was like in his mind. No, Arnold Schwarzenegger. One is his show, so he's old school. So he's saying that you should have it's bodybuilding. Why are you covering up your a part of your quads with shorts? That's in his mind. He didn't feel like it was bodybuilding. And I also think with his mentality, he's not too keen on women's bodybuilding or women's physique because he probably feels like a woman isn't supposed to look like that. I think he tolerates figure because of the heels, but figure is also a muscular category. He doesn't mind
What
bikini. He doesn't.
question on that? Question. He doesn't have figure at his show. He does have fitness and
He has,
bikini and has
yeah,
wellness,
he has figure.
but he doesn't
He has
have
figure wellness.
figure. No,
He has,
no,
no,
he
his,
doesn't have
his,
figure at the Arnold Classic. He has in the amateurs, but not at
okay,
the Arnold. He has fitness, but not
okay.
figure. That's gone. He kicked that
There's no
out.
more figure. See?
No, he kicked that out about 3 years ago.
Yeah. So you see, I think he doesn't like anything that's too muscular. So I think that's his mentality, and it's kind of like an old. I guess he's an OG, so he probably still has a mentality from back in the day, like women should look a certain way. But I don't know the way it's going right now. I think it's going towards that sexier look, like bikini, or I think fitness models gonna be the new like popular category. I
Mhm.
think because
Well,
I'm not even saying because um you need less muscle to be in those categories, and it probably is like maybe not every most women don't want to be super muscular or super lean or super striated. So maybe a lot of women don't want that look. They want that sexy, tones kind of look. So I don't know. I think I like I appreciate all the categories. I think bodybuilding is freaking dope because that has got to be the hardest physique to obtain. And so you see a lot of them just say, you say how long you've been doing it. A lot of them say a minimum of 10 years to build that physique. If you hear, I don't like the way a lot of them speak. So I don't know. I hope women's bodybuilding can be salvaged. I hope so. But I don't know.
Well, well, I do get some slight news over the horizon because, as you know, was it about a couple weeks ago? I did a podcast where I make an announcement where, that women's bodybuilding was getting cut from a popular show, which was the Tampa Bay Pro, and then shout out to a man who as you know, when I was with y'all here last time, I had to, do something. I felt like it was just. I felt necessary to no longer say my famous line, but because he came in, he did this.
The interview that I
He
have
came in
some
and he
years,
saved
several years.
women's bodybuilding. I would say at the last minute when I have to give it to him because he's a guy who really came along and he saved it. That's one Mr. Jake Wood, and I got to do it for him. Yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. And Jake came in and he pulled another rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah.
And also shout out to Lena Popa, a lady I had pleasure of meeting a couple of years ago. They saved women's bodybuilding for the Tampa Bay Pro, and and that is great news. They came up, and now women's bodybuilding is back at the Tampa Bay Pro.
Oh,
That
nice.
is some great news.
Yay, that is great news.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
it's great news because and like I said again, Mr. Jake Wood, I want to give my apologies to you. I understand you're a businessman, you gotta worry about your bottom line, but as a fan of women's bodybuilding, I just felt like you're the man who came along and you give the division a fighting chance. But then, I know again, but what you're doing now, like you said, he's changed the format of the Risers meetings where it's no longer an invitational. The money prices have changed. Everything about it's changed. It's a regular open show, so that means that the money's shouldn't drop down to a certain amount. All the monies that was put into prize money, stuff like that's changed, so it's put towards that. So you might have just took and just kind of how my man Big Keith said he robbed Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So, my man Keith, he sent me some pictures a while ago, and I think this is he mentioned this is some pictures of a particular lady that we have on here guest before, and she also before she got into bodybuilding, she started as Natty, and that is the lovely Mrs. Tina S. Williams, and and the thing, Tina being taller, it's really harder for I would say taller women to put on muscle, because it takes more to cover your body or to really you get the longer arms. She started at Natty for a while, and later on
Mhm.
she transitioned into the more enhanced.
You know why she did that? But
Well, like any competitor, you should know the sport evolved,
yeah,
and you want to be competitive. So it's gonna be tough to compete with these girls who have um who's using paid performance enhancers. You have to be able to want to compete at that level. Also, we see a couple pictures of I think it's a friend of his, a client. I believe his name is Sean, and I think Sean is prepping for natty competition. Here he is right here. Pull it up here, and that's a different look if you look at it from the standpoint of the more enhanced competitors. It seems like the muscle has more of a natural flow, not as bulky. If you look at the guys like if you look at guys like Samson or Derek Lungford, but still good conditioning.
yeah.
But like I said,
I'll be, so, guys,
offense.
I'll be right back, guys. All right, just give me 1 sec. I'll be back.
All right, no problem.
Okay, it's good. All right, you're good. Anyway, but as we follow this sport, it's always going to be changes. Will people want to like I said again, will people want to stick to being a natural competitor if they get into an organization like NPC? Or like I said, with Southern Man there, he was talking how he prefers being natural.
Yeah, because he got that condition. That's a lot to just do that, So everybody can't do what he doing. So
Yeah, like I said, if you get into the sport, you understand the facts of it. How to grow muscle, the training, you can do pretty good. But if you want to have how the saying goes, keep up with the Joneses, you do eventually have to make the choice of should I stick to being natural, or should I just go ahead and just join the boat and join everybody else and become a more enhanced competitor.
I don't really got too much to say about it. It's just, I mean, it's a lot. Like I've been a couple of shows. I've been to two OCB shows. And there's there's regular people and that watch the shows and stuff, and I mean, some of them, like, they're not really so, their physiques are, it looked like some of their physiques, it's not, it needs more work a bit, like some of them, because I remember there was this guy, he was a bit stocky a bit, but he was on stage. He had a physique, but it was like a little bit stocky. Like he was trying to Nicole, I don't know if you was paying attention to the guys to the place that you won the amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
There was a stocky guy a bit on stage.
Okay.
And he had muscles, but it wasn't like popping up like popping up like that.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the men compete. I didn't see them compete.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They I don't know. I mean, I don't really got too much to say about it. It's just certain things that I seen, in the show. So.
Okay. I seen some of the competitors backstage, but they were very, I guess they were locked in, so they weren't very like the women. Like most women, we were friendly. We spoke to each other. We kind of just kept each other sane. You backstage, you can get a little crazy, but the men were like locked in. They didn't want to talk to anybody. They were too macho for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just too macho. They weren't talking to anybody. So
yeah,
I saw a couple of guys that had nice physiques, but yeah, I didn't really get a chance. It was nice. I like to connect with all competitors, not just the women, because we're all competing. We're all part of the OCB organization.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to talk to nobody. They were just like, I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah.
I think
it's a lot.
I think same mentality across any organization, especially if you're OCB or IFBB or NPC or any, because when you're focused on a goal and you're tending to go out there, you're not competing against other people. You're competing against yourself. You're your real competition. You got to prove that you belong up there, and then you have to face off with other people and come in great shape. And this guy might be standing here, he might be just as good a shape as you, but it's always like I was watching the Triple O, how they said that it was a point between Salika and Tiana Flex, and Tiana, she looked pretty good. She just needed maybe a little more size, but she looked pretty good. Here, this is from Chris Mass. Haven't seen him for a while. Says Tiana Flex Factor seemed like a peeled, shredded, imposing, otherworldly specimen, but Salika beat her by 1 point. Just shows you just how dangerous Tiana was. And George, I believe you're interviewed her. Yeah, I did. I interviewed her about a couple years ago. This is from a man here. Damon J says, yeah, Chris, the Triple O Dynasty show had two very lethal female bodybuilders in that show, Salika and Tiana Flex. Yeah, I think it looked pretty good. Also, This is from Chris. He says, it's great to see Tampa Bay Pro back up again. Yes, it's great. And I hope we have it next year and also that. But one lady I follow also on social media, impressive lady. She is Liz, I think it's Gango, I think I believe.
Yeah.
And she has potential. If she ever thought about crossing over, maybe doing, the NBC IMB. Physique, well, I can probably see his figure.
Yeah, she got a nice physique. I've seen her stuff. Seen her performance, posing and stuff like that. She got a nice physique.
She kind of, if I look at her legs, she kind of remind me a bit of Sarah Vilgas. Just if she was just maybe had, I would say 10 more pounds of muscle on her.